Did you know that the CDC has a section on their website on how to survive during a zombie apocalypse? And what does it say? Keep watching to find out, because he decided to be in the video as well. Hello, Horror Nights In family, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Crystal, and on this channel we talk about everything horror. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel because I put new videos out every single Wednesday and now Saturdays. And don't forget to turn the bell on to be notified every single time that I upload a brand new video. I'm also going to be guesting on my friend's podcast, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, once a month. Details for their podcast are in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on my socials for some extra fun stuff there. I do a lot of videos on TikTok. I know that a few of my newer subscribers actually found me there, so thank you so much for that. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Also, before we get into the video, a little disclaimer, my voice might sound a little bit lower and raspier than usual because your girl was so hungry yesterday that she started eating french fries really fast and one got stuck in my throat and pretty sure I scraped my esophagus, so yeah, but you guys don't care about that. Let's talk about zombies. So the other night I was watching #Alive and I paused the movie and I started brainstorming about how I would survive a zombie apocalypse. So about half an hour later, I came up with a little plan. And then I started digging into what the internet says and came across an article from the official CDC website. Yes, the official CDC has an article about how to survive a zombie apocalypse. So I've been tracking this article for some time now because it did come out in 2011 and they don't really change it too much, but people definitely continue to comment. So with this post having over 1,000 comments, I figured I'd share it with you guys. So as a horror movie fan, obviously, I love zombie movies and zombie shows. Most of these shows and movies all have the same premise: to survive and to kill the zombies. The characters are kind of the same. The zombies might look a little bit different. Some might be faster, some might be slower, but they do have different plots, and sometimes it's with family members and sometimes it's with a group of unrelated people. So before we get into what the CDC says, I wanna take it back a little bit and talk about what a zombie actually is. According to Webster's dictionary, the definition of a zombie is a will-less and speechless human, as in voodoo belief and in fictional stories, held to have died and been supernaturally reanimated. The supernatural power that, according to voodoo belief, may enter into and reanimate a dead body, and a person held to resemble the so-called walking dead. According to History.com, the ancient Greeks may have been the first civilization terrorized by a fear of the undead. Archaeologists have unearthed many ancient graves which contain skeletons pinned down by rocks and other heavy objects, assumedly to prevent the dead bodies from reanimating. Zombie folklore has been around for centuries in Haiti, possibly originating in the 17th century when West African slaves were brought in to work on Haiti's sugarcane plantations. The brutal conditions left the slaves longing for freedom. According to some reports, the life, or rather afterlife, of a zombie represented the horrific plight of slavery. There are also accounts in medical journals documenting zombies. A 1997 article in the British medical journal The Lancet described 3 veritable accounts of zombies. In one case, a Haitian woman who appeared to be dead was buried in a family tomb only to reappear 3 years later. An investigation revealed that her tomb was filled with stones, and her parents agreed to admit her to a local hospital. In another well-documented case, a Haitian man named Clarius Narcisse entered a local hospital with severe respiratory problems in 1962. After he slipped into a coma, Narcisse was declared dead and was buried shortly after. But 18 years later, a man walked up to Angelina Narcisse in a village marketplace, insisting she was his sister. Doctors, townsmen, and family members all identified him as Clarius Narcisse, who claimed he had been buried alive, then dug up and put to work on a distant sugar plantation. It wasn't until 1968 that zombies acquired a cult following of their own, directed by George A. Romero. Over the next 15 years, Romero directed 2 more zombie films, Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. As special effects technology improved with each film, the zombies appeared more gruesome and realistic. Interesting. So since then, our fascination with zombies just keeps growing, which is why it's not surprising that the CDC saw this as an opportunity and added to that preparation with their article that's titled Preparedness 101 Zombie Apocalypse. So what does the article say? So after reading the article several times through, it looks as if the CDC was using the popularity of a zombie apocalypse to ready people on natural disasters like tornadoes, earthquakes, severe weather, a pandemic. How fitting. And then it goes on to say that you should have an emergency kit in your home. It includes things like water, food, radio, pretty much the essentials to last you a couple days before you find a zombie refuge camp. And then in quotations it says, or get to a natural disaster rescue center. These are the things that they list that you should have in your survival kit. Water, 1 gallon per person a day. Food, stock up on perishable things that everybody can eat. Medications that include prescriptions, things like that. Tools and supplies like utility tools, duct tape, battery-powered radio, etc. Sanitation and hygiene, like bleach, towels, etc. Clothing and bedding, a change of clothes for you and your family members, and bedding as well. Important documents like your driver's license, your birth certificate, social security cards, things like that. Now, I don't know how necessary that would be if it was a zombie apocalypse, but I can understand why it would be necessary during a natural disaster. It also says first aid supplies, but if you're bitten by a zombie, you're pretty much a goner. But you can use things in a first aid kit if anything were to happen to you during a tornado or a hurricane, etc. So you see what they're doing here? Then it suggests that you set up a plan with your family or your friends and family and come up with an emergency plan that everybody knows and that everybody follows. It says things like pick a place to regroup if the zombies are outside your house, identify emergency contacts like the police department, the fire department, also your zombie response team. Then you have to plan your evacuation route because the zombies are hungry and they want to eat your brains. Now guys, I'm laughing at this just because I understand that the CDC article is sort of using the fascination with the zombies to also educate us on what to do if there is a natural disaster. But honestly, with the way that 2020 and 2021 are going, who knows what's gonna happen. It also goes into what the CDC will do if there is a zombie invasion and the steps that they would take. The first step is the CDC will provide technical assistance to cities, states, or international partners dealing with a zombie infestation. This assistance might include consultation, lab testing and analysis, patient management and care, tracking of contacts, and infection control, including isolation and quarantine. The second step is it's likely that an investigation of this scenario would seek to accomplish several goals. Determine the case of the illness, the source of the infection, virus, or toxin, learn how it was transmitted and how readily it is spread, how to break the cycle of transmission and thus prevent further cases, and how patients can best be treated. The third step is not only will scientists be working on to identify the cause and cure of the zombie attack, but CDC and other federal agencies would send medical teams and first responders to help those in affected areas. It's interesting that this article was written in 2011, considering the COVID-19 pandemic that we are all experiencing still. So these are probably the same guidelines that they have and the steps that they have taken to also combat COVID-19. As I was reading through the comments, a lot of people had positive things to say. People are actually putting down other supplies you should have, like an aluminum bat. Some people weren't too happy about it. Some people are saying, I pay my tax dollars and this is what they're doing. But of course, if you read the article, then you know that they're using it to their advantage, as I've said multiple times in this video, to bring people's awareness. Because most people, maybe now, maybe not in 2011, are not going to the CDC to read about what would happen in the case of a natural disaster or pandemic. Now, of course, the CDC website probably has a ton more hits than it ever has in forever between this year and last year. But back in 2011, it wasn't really like that. So I would assume, you know, they use the popularity of the zombies to not only jump on the bandwagon of people loving zombies, but also bringing awareness to people who wouldn't read anything else on the website, but would definitely go read an article about how the official CDC is telling you how to prep for a zombie apocalypse. Like I said, when I read this article many years ago, I was like, oh, this is funny. Yeah, emergency survival kit, whatever. But now my mind is completely shifted. Just like I said in the beginning of this video, I was watching #Alive and I paused the movie and really was thinking of things that I need to do in order to prep for something that could potentially happen. And I honestly feel like in this stage of the game, anything could happen. So let me know down in the comments if you guys have an emergency survival kit for the zombie apocalypse and what you would put in that kit. Also, let me know if you think a zombie apocalypse is ever gonna happen. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit lighter than some of my other videos, but still very serious because you should always have an emergency survival kit and also an emergency plan in case something ever happened. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe because I put new videos out every single Wednesday and Saturdays now. And don't forget to turn the bell on to be notified every single time that I upload a brand new video. Don't forget to follow me on my socials as well. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay safe out there. Bye, guys.